Bang! The knife you see here is the Protech PT Plus, which is a now discontinued model from the 10-year-long Strider Protech collaboration. It comes with their natural grey aluminum scales and the DLC-coated MagnaCut blade, which is hands down my favorite combination they ever released. Hey everyone, welcome to Salvo EDC. This latest and greatest version of the PT Plus is the result of a long evolution. It went through a redesign from the original PT to the PT Plus, and then it also saw significant blade steel improvements, starting from 154 cm, CPM 154, S35VN, and then finally this DLC-coated MagnaCut, which marks the apex of its evolution. In its dimensions, the Protech PT Plus is super identical to the Spyderco Para 3, as they both have a very similar cutting edge and functional grip area. Plus they both feature a so-called forward finger choil that we all know and love. However, their geometry is somewhat different, because the Para 3 comes with a straight spine and its tip points a bit downwards. Meanwhile, the PT Plus has more of a rounded spine with its tip pointing forward. But in practice they feel exactly the same, because the Para 3 has the signature Spyderco hump, and the way these knives align themselves in my hand make them feel very similar. The only weird thing on the PT Plus is the sharpening choil, which is something that Strider designs are kinda famous for. And I know that it annoys some people, because rope can get trapped in there. That makes cutting a bit more difficult. But as an exchange, it also makes sharpening less of a headache. For the same reason, I also saw some people who put similar choils on their Para 3s, because Spyderco usually doesn't sharpen the edge all the way, which makes their knives less pretty. But I guess that's why the knife industry has thousands of designs, because this way everyone can decide which trade-off is the best for their very own use case. So let me know in a comment which solution you prefer. Anyways, there are two places where the Protech PT Plus clearly beats the Spyderco Para 3, and the first one is the carry profile, as it folds up into a much more compact package, and it also comes with a deep carry pocket clip, so it has an easier ride in my pocket. And the second pro going for the PT Plus is that even though it is a wide and chunky aluminum knife, it's still 10% lighter than the Para 3, which doesn't sound much, but in my opinion, it's very noticeable. I also really like the smoothness on the grip, as the curvy handle makes the grip secure enough, and this way the knife is completely free from hot spots. Aluminum is the perfect handle material for a knife like this, because it is very light, rigid, and it has the necessary shock resistance to hold the spring-operated blade. Speaking of which, the action on the PT Plus is super snappy and reliable. Protech is famous for their automatic knives, and for a very good reason, as in comparison to other brands, this Protech opens itself even if the blades get stuck very close to the stop pin. Meanwhile, other spring-loaded knives usually need a wind up to fully open. I also think that the PT Plus is a very safe and reliable knife, because even though it comes without a safety switch, its button takes place in a recessed groove, which passively prevents me from triggering the action, and this knife goes off only when I have the intention to pop it open. As I already mentioned, Protech went through 10 years of constant quality improvement with this one, and I think in this final form the PT Plus is better than ever. Probably the biggest upgrade in terms of performance is the new MagnaCut blade steel, and for a really long time I was on the fence about this material, because I didn't know where to put it. On manual folders I still don't see the point of MagnaCut, because M390 is similarly super stainless, but holds an edge much longer. And for fixed blades, L-Max is also a much better overall choice. But then, after hating MagnaCut in the past 2 years, this knife helped me realize that there's a super niche category where MagnaCut actually shines. This steel has a very respectable amount of impact resistance that makes it a good candidate for Protech, as they make their blades with relatively thin stocks, yet they open in a quick and violent fashion. MagnaCut also comes with a very high corrosion resistance that is desirable on fully automatic tactical knives, because taking them apart for a proper cleaning is not so quick and easy. However, it is still a very finicky steel that works well only if your heat treatment is extremely precise. You can't treat MagnaCut blades in large batches because it will result in a range in hardness, and this steel only performs well when it's heat treated to exactly 63 Rockwell. Under 63 MagnaCut has incredibly shitty edge retention, and over 64 it becomes brittle and rusty because the free chromium in its recipe turns into carbides. This is why I would never buy a MagnaCut blade from a maker that heat treats their blades in large batches, because in mass production it is very unlikely that all blades end up with the desired hardness. Protech knows this, and they were always very open about their heat treatment protocols. They cook their blades in small batches only, and they always end up around the 63 Rockwell sweet spot. So Protech and MagnaCut are a match made in heaven, and this blade steel on the PT Plus finally makes sense. However, even after trying MagnaCut in its best form ever, I still don't find it worthy for the unbelievable hype it receives. Because even the super duper finely cooked turbo MagnaCut from Protech is completely unable to hold an edge, and as you see, my knife can't reliably slice paper, even though it started the day as sharp as a lightsaber. So in my experience, the only blade steel in the knife industry that should receive this level of appreciation is S90V, which is hands down the best super steel I've ever tried. If you wanna know why S90V is so amazing, you should click on this card and watch my previous video on this limited edition Spyderco Military 2, where I explain everything. Thank you for sticking around all the way, and I'll see you in the next one.